Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is Roy. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program. Hello, sir.
How you doing, Rush?
Fine, thank you.
Negative from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I appreciate getting them, sir.
I just wanted to comment on what I think is a lack of character and leadership in President Clinton. In that, in the last couple of weeks, his behavior has shown that he really does not understand what it means to be a leader in this country. And what I mean by that is, for example, with this White House staff firing of the travel agency, all this stuff that's going on with that, is that he's not taking responsibility for what's going on in his administration.
Well, it's not his responsibility. He needs a new staff. His problem centers around the fact that he's just got the wrong staff. He's got the wrong advisors. He needs other people telling him what to do.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with his character, though, wouldn't you say?
Well, I was giving you a facetious answer, giving the White House press corps the inside the Beltway standard answer 101 to any criticism of President Clinton on this. I agree with you totally. It's not like a broken record. Character. You got to sneak in it. Where is it? Never was. Wake up. Hey, glad you're noticing. Now what do? We are in deep trouble.
Yeah, I just think that...
Don't you people think it'd have been a lot easier to discover this last October than it was to discover it now? Tried to tell you. But it's all right. It's made my career. I'll go ahead and be selfish about this. I get the best writers anybody could ever have. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding with that, but I agree with you. The character issue is something. Look, he's blaming everybody else for the airport runway fiasco, the haircut, and out of the travel office. It's always somebody else's fault.
Make your spring cleaning easier with a new Dirt Devil vacuum by Royal from Waynesboro Furniture. Dirt Devil vacuum cleaners are great for cleaning stairs, upholstery, automobiles, carpets, and much more. The popular Dirt Devil vacuums are easy to handle and powerful with great pickup, plus you get a complete set of attachments that ride piggyback on the Dirt Devil vacuum. For the Dirt Devil uprights and other terrific deals in vacuums by Royal, come by Waynesboro Furniture, 119 North Center Street, downtown Goldsboro.
It's time to get a Best Buy just right for you. New home sewing machines, a creative sewing center in Goldsboro has some very special prices. The new home JA 1518 with easy threading system, button holder, and much more, now only $199. The new home Mylock 203 serger that gives a beautiful professional finish to a wide variety of seams, hems, and edges, and does much more, now only $249. So with the best. New home and creative sewing center on North Berkeley Boulevard across from Adamsville Baptist Church in Goldsboro.
We're the talk of the town. 1150 WGBR, Goldsboro's very own.
From ABC News, I'm Gary Nunn. House Democrats strongly suggest that President Clinton make his case more forcefully in the various audiences for his economic plan. Richard Gebhardt says a broadcast appearance is a good idea.
The president has spoken to the nation. I hope he will continue to speak to the nation. I hope all of us will talk to our constituents generally after this vote and keep the momentum going to get the bill through the Senate as well.
Three well-known business groups contend that the administration's proposed energy tax is a bad idea, suggested at the worst possible time. ABC's Stephen Ogg with an update.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, National Association of Manufacturers, and the National Federation of Independent Business, which represents smaller firms, say the tax would drain so much money out of consumers' pockets that businesses would start laying off workers, with the result that 400,000 to 600,000 jobs could be lost over the next 5 years.
The three groups claim to represent more than 750,000 members. Attorney General Janet Reno is described as angry about White House contacts with the FBI in the controversy over the firing of travel office employees. Senate Republican leader Bob Dole calls the FBI's involvement a very disturbing abuse of power, reminiscent of the Watergate scandal. ABC's Vic Ratner reports Dole and his party colleagues will not let this issue die.
Republicans here in Congress sense the Clinton administration may be vulnerable to charges of misusing the FBI for political purposes. And sources here say they intend to pound away on the issue virtually every day here on Capitol Hill.
Dole wants a congressional congressional investigation of the whole thing. The Tailhook Association is resuming its annual conventions this fall in San Diego. The Navy and most corporate supporters withdrew backing after reports surfaced of improper behavior at the convention 2 years ago in Las Vegas. The Tailhook convention last year was canceled. Continental Airlines is checking into seeking short-haul routes with low fares and lower costs, much as Southwest Airlines has done, the project nicknamed Continental Light. You're listening to ABC News.
Courtyard by Marriott asks business travelers how long their work week is. 40 hours? Try 80 or more. So the last thing they want is to work weekends, and that's something you can take advantage of. Courtyard has weekend rates of $44 to $54 Thursday through Sunday at participating locations through October 3rd. Rooms are limited and restrictions apply. So take advantage of the fact that business travelers hate to work weekends. Call your travel agent or 800-321-2211. Reserve 3 days in advance. Courtyard, the hotel designed by business travelers.
Here's a real mystery. What's never on your shopping list, but always ends up in your shopping cart? It protects your food, yet you can see right through it. Ooh, the mystery deepens. Last clue. It's strong enough for your car's body panels, yet resists dents from runaway shopping carts. You give up? It's plastic. Life-enhancing plastic helps us in so many ways. The only real mystery is, what would we do without it? Sponsored by the American Plastics Council.
2 Dartmouth physicians have published research that finds elderly men who have prostate cancer should rethink any recommendations about surgery or radiation. The researchers say such treatments may cause more problems than they solve. Another 2,200 coal miners have gone on strike, this time in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, widening the 2-week-old walkout by members of the United Mine Workers Union against the Bituminous Coal Operators Association. Union President Richard Trumka says the gap between union and management must be closed.
If America and the American coal industry is going to continue to be world leaders and continue to compete, then in fact, they're going to have to make productivity our friend and not an enemy as they're trying to make it right now.
About 6,600 miners in 4 states are now on strike. No talks are scheduled. April lived-in home sales jumped 2.7%. First increase in 4 months. The National Association of Realtors reports sales improved in all regions of the country, up 2.9 in the West, 4 in the 3rd in the Midwest. Kimberly-Clark is cutting the wholesale price of Huggies diapers by about 7%, competing with other major brands on a price-per-diaper basis. Last month, Procter & Gamble cut prices on Pampers 5%. There's no indication if or how that might be reflected in consumers' costs. Wall Street, Dow Jones Industrials up 6.87 at 3514.65. Volume 129,660,000 shares. The trading is heavy. This is ABC News.
How did the Russians get our atomic bomb secrets? What did Lee Harvey Oswald really do when he was in Russia? What did the Russians use to spy on the United States? What is it like inside the KGB training center? Who was the greatest KGB spy in America? Find out the answers to these questions and more, and see an exclusive interview with Boris Yeltsin when, for the first time, American cameras go inside the KGB. Tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on NBC.
For the ABC Information Network, I'm Gary Nunn.
More clouds mixed in with the sunshine today and some rainfall in the forecast, too, as a cold front makes its way from northwest to southeast into the area. The forecast for this afternoon,
Partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then for tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible, lows about 60 to 65 degrees. Tomorrow, periods of light rain ending late in the morning and increasing sunshine after that. We'll see highs reaching 75 to 80 degrees. At the Weather Center, I'm Mike Moss.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 86 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show right after this.
24 hours a day, the North Carolina News Network Weather Center will keep you informed with the very latest weather developments. This is meteorologist Greg Fischel. Get the latest weather information for Eastern Carolina right here on 1150 WGBR.
This is meteorologist Bill Schmidt in the North Carolina News Weather Center. Find out the latest weather information throughout the day with the most up-to-date forecast right here on your first information source, 1150 WGBR.
Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh on your first information source, 1150 WGBR. The views expressed by the host on this show are going to be mainstream views. Well, they are mainstream views in America now, but they're going to be recognized as such in a very short period of time. If you want to be mainstream, you should get on the EIB bandwagon now.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you, Johnny Donovan, who I was in error yesterday. He's not at Fort Donovan cleaning the turrets. He is at Disney World down in Florida with the kids. And, right. So now, when he gets home, Fort Donovan, by the way, folks, is undefended. He's not. This will get him back. Oh no, Rush is saying my house is. Anyway, glad you're with us. The telephone number here is 1-800-282-2882. If you would like to be on the program today, let's see, a bunch of things here. First off, Ed and Jacobowitz, this is a sign here that victory can be had. Let's review the substance of the case of Ed and Jacobowitz, a student at the University of Pennsylvania. University of Pennsylvania, by the way, there's been the focus of a lot of attention. Hillary Rodham Clinton went there to deliver the commencement address. President Clinton's nominee for a ranking position in the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, Lanny Guinier, is a law professor there and is so radical that even Democrats are saying that she doesn't have much of a chance of being confirmed for her post. Sheldon Hackney, the chairman or the president of the institution, is President Clinton's nominee for the National Endowment for the Humanities. So there's a lot of good liberalism on this campus, is what you can glean from this. So we go now to the sad story of Ed and Jacobowitz, a student working hard toward his degree. He's up late one night studying in January. All of a sudden, past midnight, comes a commotion outside his dorm. His windows are closed, and not just Ed and Jacobowitz, but a number of people in the dormitory building also were disturbed by the noise, and windows were opened, and a bunch of things were shouted. Ed and Jacobowitz happened to be nearest the protesters downstairs, the celebrants. The celebrants were members of a black sorority. Ed and Jacobowitz shouted words to the effect, "Hey, you water buffalo, be quiet. If you want to have a party, there's a zoo about a mile down the road." Others in the dormitory were shouting real racial epithets. The water buffalo complained. And Ed and Jacobowitz honestly answered questions put to him by investigating police officers. He said, "Yeah, I called them water buffalo. Yeah, I asked them to stop. Yeah, I told them to head on down the road a mile to the zoo if they wanted a party. I'm trying to study." He figured he had done nothing wrong. He didn't mean anything racial by it. None of the others on the dormitory floor or in the dormitory would admit to having said anything to the water buffalo down there. None of them would admit to using racial epithets, although racial epithets were used. And so Ed and Jacobowitz was the only suspect that they had. And the University of Pennsylvania set out to nail him on this charge of racial harassment. And they offered him a number of ways out. Hey, we will drop the charge if you will agree to have racial harasser as part of your college transcript. He said, I'm not going to do that. I'll never get into another school if I put that on there. And I didn't do it. And so he set out to oppose it. He met with Sheldon Hackney, met with no success. Robin Reed, who's in charge of these investigations on campus, all she cared about apparently was a conviction. She was, well, did you have racial thoughts in your head when you were saying water buffalo to those beautiful black women down there? No, I didn't have racial thoughts in my head, but so what? The thought police on campus reared their ugly heads, and all of the political correctness and the damage that accrues to it was there plain in this day for all to see. Well, Eden Jacobowitz didn't just sit there and take it. Eden Jacobowitz found friends. He found friends on the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal. He found a friend in George F. Will. He found a willing friend on this show. The Wall Street Journal editorialized brilliantly about the plight Eden Jacobowitz was in. George Will wrote a column detailing all that I have shared with all that I've told. Detailing all that I just told you with his usual brilliant analysis of the event. And I was the recipient of a multi-page fax letter written by Eden Jacobowitz, which I read word for word and also offered my in-depth commentary and analysis after reading the letter. It was the Wall Street Journal, George F. Will, and this show, which then, and the persistence of Eden Jacobowitz, which then caused the mainstream media to get interested in it. And lo and behold, there was Eden Jacobowitz on the Tom Snyder Show on CNBC one night. And then John Chancellor did a commentary on this on the NBC Nightly News. And then CNN did a story. This is a story that happened January 13th. And it is now the beginning of May before it hits the mainstream press. Finally, the pressure was too much for those bringing the charges and those deciding. Oh, one other salient point. There was to have been a hearing on April 26th, I believe, where this case was to have been decided. And the university said, nope, we're going to delay the case until next semester, which would be September. Because there's too much publicity that's been attached to this, we don't think that we can get a decent hearing going here. And all this was to try to put it off so that the nomination of Dr. Hackney to the National Endowment of the Humanities could go through unimpeded and unflawed. Nevertheless, the pressure brought to bear. There's a new dynamic in America today. This dynamic is a tough thing to define, but the dynamic, I think, really is that masses of people are moved to action, not because they're told to, and not even really because they're inspired to, but because they're so angry. People in what I call the mainstream of life, when they hear about a story such as this, is a brilliant kid, studying, working hard, and he calls some people water buffalo, and they want to throw him out of school and label him a racist for the rest of his life for this. This offends the sensibilities of decent people, and it's not an isolated case. The backlash is beginning. People, when they hear about this, nobody said call Sheldon Hackney. Nobody said call the University of Pennsylvania. People just do it now. The silent majority is no longer silent. They don't want to sit around and take it anymore. They don't want to have to be impugned. They don't want to have to consider themselves what they are not. They don't want to have to consider themselves the minority. They don't want to have to consider themselves rude or mean or unfair or all of the negatives which have been attached to them. And they see what were once great traditions and institutions in this country being assaulted every day and weakened, and they're simply rising up and saying, this is it. And they are made confident by the fact that the media is now itself undergoing a bit of a shift. It is not totally dominated by leftists anymore. The dominant media culture is now critiqued and reviewed and countered each day. And each day it is done with more and more confidence, which in turn makes the people more and more confident. So the bottom line is, the water buffalo dropped the charges. Why did the water buffalo drop the charges? They said they had to drop the charges because the media attention will now prevent them from having a fair hearing. Imagine that. Media attention, all the publicity will prevent them getting a fair, unbiased hearing of their case. I'm a bit cynical about that. I think maybe Sheldon Hackney, or a representative, Sheldon Hackney, or somebody who knows Dr. Hackney, went to the water buffalo and said, hey, can't win this thing. Sorry, no case. We'll make it up to you somehow, but I want that job at NEH. I want that job, National Endowment for the Humanities, and I won't get it if this thing goes forward. So they dropped the charges, and rather than the media attention causing them a lack of opportunity for a fair hearing, in fact, it's the media attention which brought light to the absolute outrage and offense to decent sensibilities this whole thing has been. So what has been the reaction of Edin Jacobowitz? He is obviously one decent man. Edin Jacobowitz is apologizing for offending them. Didn't mean anything by it. I'm sorry you took offense, but I didn't mean any offense. And he said that he could understand why they felt the way they did. Edin Jacobowitz, not once in this whole circumstance, has criticized these water buffalo personally. He's not done it. I'm saying water buffalo on purpose. Let them come after me for it. Let them just try. I'm trying to make a point with this. The sorority sisters. Okay, is that better? The women of the sorority. The sororo babes. So we applaud Mr. Jacobowitz for not caving, for sticking to it. We don't applaud the University of Pennsylvania. This is not what they wanted to do. Not going to give them any credit here. They wouldn't have done this had there not been all this attention. And wanted to also point out how this is another example of how you just don't have to let these kinds of things steamroller over you. We'll take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen, and be back with your phone calls. What else? We haven't talked yet about the shooting in Louisiana of the 16-year-old Japanese young man. The reaction to the acquittal, a verdict, of the man who shot and killed the Japanese. There's a great story today about HDTV. Oh, I can't wait to tell you this, because you people may not remember the history of HDTV as it dates back to the Bush administration. So stay there. Your calls, too, right after all this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Picture the average carpet store, rows and rows of samples. That's all you see. Now, imagine walking in there and trying to choose one carpet that'll be a perfect match for your room. It's not possible. That's why FCI makes so much sense. They come directly to you. With the carpet store at your door, you can select from over 3,000 choices of top brand names in the comfort of your own home. so you can be sure that everything matches perfectly. With FCI's Mill Direct pricing, you can match your budget perfectly too. But the best thing about FCI is the service. Each FCI representative takes the time to help you select just the right carpet that'll wear and look great for years to come. Installations are guaranteed. Why, you'll even be called back later on to make sure you are completely happy. In a business where most people would never buy carpet from the same store again, over 80% of FCI customers have been referred by another satisfied customer. Call FCI today to see why. Look for them in the white pages under Floor Coverings International, or call 800-967-3444. That's 800-967-3444.
Mom, if you had time off, we could be Martians. We could play house, Dad. We could take a vacation on a cloud.
If you had a Mita plain paper fax machine, you'd have more time to do everything. Because it can send laser quality faxes in as little as 6 seconds. Mita gives you time to do what's really important.
Dad, I crown you King Martian.
Times demand Mita. Call 1-800-ABC-MITA.
May's a famous month for Mother's Day and Memorial Day, but you may not realize that May is barbecue month. McCall's Barbecue and Seafood would like to thank you for making us #1 for barbecue. McCall serves barbecue beef, barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken, and pork barbecue. These are all available during our luncheon buffet weekdays for $4.99, or our Sunday buffet for $5.99. Help us celebrate Barbecue Month at McCall's Barbecue and Seafood in Goldsboro and in Mount Olive.
There are some things a business traveler simply needs. Healthy respect for airline food, a good head for calculating frequent flyer miles, and a rental car with a nice big trunk. But the best way to stay productive while traveling is by staying at Courtyard by Marriott. Enjoy a spacious room and things like a whirlpool and mini gym. What more could a business traveler want? Besides, say, a Learjet. Call your travel agent or 1-800-321-2211. Courtyard, the hotel designed by business travelers.
I love you, Pontiac Grand Am. I love the way you drive. With spirited overhead cam engine, you give me power. Your standard anti-lock brakes give me control. That's why, whenever I go to bed alone, I always dream of you. And I don't dream of Accord, and I don't dream of Camry. I only dream of my Grand Am. We are driving excitement. Pontiac.
I'm Greg Fischel. One thing is constant about the weather, it's bound to change. I'm here to tell you how. So keep your radio dial to WGBR AM 1150 for my forecast.
We've got the highlights. We've got the scores. I'm Tom Suter, and WRAL TV5 Sports is coming your way dawn. WGBR AM 1150.
This is Charlie Gaddy. Stay with us here on WGBR or WRAL TV5 News at 6 on your 24-hour news source.
1150 WGBR, Eastern Carolina's home for The Rush Limbaugh Show.
We're back in New York, high atop the EIB building in Midtown Manhattan. Rush Limbaugh having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. Gun control debate, forefront once again. Susan Whitmore of Handgun Control, it's a lobbying group in Washington, said of the problem in Louisiana, where, again, this Japanese exchange student was gunned down by a man who thought that he was breaking into his house. Louisiana, you can do that. The law is somebody's breaking into your house, you can shoot to kill. Her quote is, that's the problem. The gun is there. Is that the problem? I ask you, is that the fact the gun is there? Her point is that in a moment of panic, the gun is used in a way that it's not intended to be used. Now, I don't know where these liberals live, and I frankly think that they find themselves, I know they don't live amongst the people they claim to understand. But I don't think people understand the degree of fear that the law-abiding citizen feels in America today. We are deluged daily with the number of people who have the number of locks on their doors. They are scared to death of a knock on the door. They won't like it. The windows are barred. Why do you think this is? This is the people's response to action. It's response to other people's behavior. Crime, as we all know, happens at an ever-increasing rate, and it is dealt with less and less harshly. Law-abiding citizens have complained time and time again that the problem with the criminal judicial system is that criminals don't fear it. They're not intimidated by it. It is a gut-wrenching thing to have an innocent kid get lost, knock on a door, and get shot. It's not, though, because the gun is there. If you want to be honest and get to the real root of this problem, and the only solution to problems is finding their roots. And liberals don't ever do that. Liberals go for the symbol every time. And the root of this, why do people have guns? We are led to believe that most people have guns in this country because they're just a bunch of maniac, out of control, trigger-happy bubbas and hayseeds who, as Ted Nugent likes to say, love to go around shooting stop signs while they're drinking 6 packs of malt liquor. That's not who gun owners are. It isn't the case. They have guns to protect their homes. They're afraid. These are law-abiding people. This guy that conducted this shooting, I don't think this guy's got a criminal record. No, he's got a history of gunning people down. I don't even think they've got a charge of him shooting a stop sign while drinking malt liquor. And no evidence the guy is a bubba. Now, some of you people probably think he is because he's in Louisiana, but you're being prejudicial. Let me tell you about gun control. I, as you know, spoke recently to an overflow crowd in 3 ballrooms in Nashville, Tennessee, in 2 hotels, to the National Rifle Association. They presented me with a gift. They presented me with a couple of rifles. I have never pulled a trigger in my life, except on a BB gun. When I was 6 years old, I don't know what I was aiming at. I think a friend of mine, Jay Sheets, lives in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. His dad always had a farm. His dad threw a big party every year for, I think it might have been Jay's birthday. We'd all go out there, and they'd line us up, and we'd have BB guns. I forget what we were shooting. I didn't like it. It was not a big thrill. That's the only time I've ever pulled a gun. I've never fired a bullet. I've never fired a shotgun shell or what. I've never fired any of that. So these guys give me guns. I said, what do I do with a gun? Well, you take it home, Rush. I can't get the damn things. I live here in New York. You wouldn't believe the trouble. They've got gun control here. I don't know if you know it or not, but in New York, they've got gun control. I got to go down. I got to register. I got to give fingerprints. I got to wait 6 to 8 weeks, and then my application will be turned down. It's routine the first time. Then I got to go do the whole thing again. I might, in 32 weeks, get my gift by obeying the law. Now, we know the crime rate in New York, don't we? People get shot here left and right. If I wanted a gun, I could choose any neighborhood in this city, walk down there, stand there with my hands in my pockets, and within 5 seconds, put 8 guns in the trunk of my car and head home. And I'd have them illegally, but I'd have them. Nothing to stop me except my willingness to obey the law. If I don't obey the law, I can get whatever I want. So look at it. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've been given the gift of a shotgun. I can't get... the hassle that I'm going to have to go through to get this gun is... well, it's amazing. I'm going to go through with it because the National Rifle Association was gracious enough to give me these things. But I'm telling you something, if gun control worked, there wouldn't be any crime in New York, my friends. Don't frown, don't frown. I'm telling you, this proves the point, or it gets close to it. People who want to get guns and use them for criminal purposes are going to do it. I don't have any intention of using that shotgun for criminal purposes. And I'm even motivated not to even go through the hassle to get it. But there's still people who have guns and use them for criminal purposes, aren't there? Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. When you speak, people listen. And the words you use tell them about your education, your background, even your intelligence. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful vocabulary building course on audio cassette tape gives you the words you need to make your best impression. Carefully chosen power words that will give your vocabulary confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 1-800-28-TAPES.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
Good afternoon. At 1:30, it's 85 degrees. I'm Dory Roberts. The Goldsboro City Council indicated in another budget work session last night that little increase in employee salaries when a study is completed by a firm already under contract to the city. This is being done because the council wants to make sure the salaries paid to City of Goldsboro employees are competitive with those paid by cities of comparable size. The council already considered an employee pay raise of 2.5% for next year. They indicated last night they probably will increase salaries based on the recommendations of the salary study, and the raises likely will be by groups of employees, for example, laborers, equipment operators, and the like. A Wayne County Planning Board Committee, composed of Larry Grady and Sam Sasser, asked the Mount Olive Planning Board last night to contact residents in the area of the Mount Olive Airport and the Sunoco Company to determine if they're opposed to the county's releasing its jurisdictional control in that area. The town of Mount Olive wants to extend its 1-mile jurisdiction into the airport's Sunoco industrial plant area that's controlled by the county, but for the town to do that, the county must release it to the town. The local planning board members indicated last night they would consider recommending release of county jurisdiction to property owners in the area do not object. If the county gives up its jurisdiction, the county planning department would continue to issue septic tank permits for the area, but the town of Mount Olive would do the building inspections and have control of land use property in the area. Wayne County Commissioner John Tart said after hearing a successful foster parent relate his experiences yesterday that we should treat all foster parents to a banquet because they do an excellent job. The foster parent who spoke made it clear they often do this with money from their own pockets. But if pending legislation is approved, foster parents can expect to be compensated more for a child next year. The foster parent who addressed the Social Services Board has organized a Foster Parents Association to raise awareness as to what a foster parent is and what a foster parent does. And a 14-year prison sentence was given in Wayne County Superior Court yesterday to 24-year-old Latanya Floyd of Raleigh on a plea of guilty to armed robbery and conspiracy to commit armed robbery. Mrs. Floyd was initially charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill Wayne County used car dealer Sim Grady Jr., and later with his murder in Grady's death. Time for our forecast from the Weather Center.
Well, a cold front now over West Virginia will sweep southeast into the region during the next 24 hours or so, bringing some unsettled weather along with it. The forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then tonight, scattered rain showers and thunderstorms continue overnight, the low 60 to 65 degrees. For tomorrow, we'll see some periods of light rain ending late in the morning, then increasing sunshine late in the afternoon, the high 75 to 80. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 85 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show on WGBR.
Rush Limbaugh.
We're going. It's the EIB Network, the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Basic problem with the liberals. They think that everybody will just be nice if you don't give them the tools to be mean. And I say that precisely, exactly as I mean it. Everybody will be nice if you don't give them the tools to be mean. In other words, they think the gun is what makes you mean. The gun's what emboldens you to behave, and I disagree with that. I think people's behavior is what it is, despite whether they have a gun or not. And I think about Harry Connick Jr., who got caught sneaking a gun into New York City, JFK. Second time, by the way, and they dropped the charges. And Carl Rowan, here's a guy, we need gun control all over America. He has some guns in his house, and he shot some people who broke into his backyard. And he didn't understand why people thought he was a hypocrite. He really didn't understand, because he's a liberal. Everybody else should live a certain way, but no, I'm better. I understand more what I'm doing. See, you don't know what's good for you. You don't know how to do right and behave. You need paternal liberal parents in Congress and in the media from the day you're born. Not conceived, because with them there's no guarantee that conception will offer you life. Limbaugh on the hard edge today. Appleton, Wisconsin, Lisa. Oops, wait a second. How did that happen? Hang on just a second, I hit the wrong button. Don't go away. There we go. Lisa, hello, welcome to the program.
Hi there.
Hi.
Mega doodles from Wisconsin.
Thank you very much.
All the time.
Thank you.
Would you believe I have a 4-year-old daughter who won't believe that you're actually going to be on the phone with me?
Yeah, I would.
And she says she's not going to talk to you.
To her, I'm probably like Barney the dinosaur.
No, she knows who you are.
Oh, okay.
Trust me. Anyways, I was calling. I got really upset with this guy from Chicago who called and said that employees deserve to have health care. Does he have any idea what the cost of this stuff is?
Probably not, but let's not be too hard on him.
Why not?
Well, look, as the dean of freshmen at the Limbaugh Institute, it's obvious that our young caller's not attended enough classes here at the Institute yet, and I think he should be reasoned with rather than criticized. And I think he's a reason why I say that is because his view is probably a view that many people hold, and they look at the minimum wage as an employee benefit. They look at a job as a right and as something a company exists to provide. And people say to me all the time, "Boy, Rush, you really lucked out. Right time, right place." Oh, I tell you, you really deserve what's happened to you. This word "deserve" is something that I cringe every time I hear it, and I think if more people could be taught the concept of earning, and that's really what self-reliance is all about, the concept of earning something. That's when you appreciate its value, and there's of course nothing wrong with that. So I think he needs to be reasoned with rather than, because we don't want him to drop out of school.
Well, I think that everyone in America should just have to own their own business for a few months, and then they would learn real fast. My mother always said if everyone in the country had to own their own business, they wouldn't be quite so tough when they come into the door and say, "How come your prices are so high?"
Well, yeah, I understand. That'd be a great thing. It'd be a great lesson. But unfortunately, not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. I mean, they're a special breed. They're a different breed. And just like not everybody's cut out to be a hunter. Not everybody's cut out to be a rock star. And an entrepreneur is, I think, it's a specific character trait and personality type. It is educational. But most people are not. Most people are going to be in the employee mode, but it still wouldn't hurt to find a way to teach them just what earning something is all about. And I think a lot of people do know. I don't mean to be impugning most people. I think most people have a decent understanding of that, and that's why they're so angry with what's going on in the country today, because the people who don't earn are the targets of reward. And it just bothers them. And it should. I'm glad you called, Lisa. Here's Bill in Oxbow Lake, New York. Hello.
Hello, Rush.
Hi.
Welcome to the mountains.
Thank you, sir, very much.
I was going to comment on the tax problems, but I'd like to make a comment first about this tragedy in Louisiana.
Yeah.
It is a tragedy, and it's an unfortunate thing that happened.
Would you call it an accident?
I would call it an accident. I would call it a tragedy. The thing that bothers me about it, and I probably will be jumped on for this, is that the man's father is in this country trying to change our laws, petitioning to change the gun laws in our country. Now, the part that everybody's going to jump on me about, these are the same people responsible for Pearl Harbor, which my father fought in the Second World War, and I went through the Vietnam era, and these people are now changing our laws. I don't buy that.
Well, I understand. This is a generational thing. I totally understand what he's talking about. Let's not just stop at Pearl Harbor. I mean, the Japanese have had to apologize for certain things they did to Chinese women, Philippine women during World War II. But they're no angels themselves is his point. They're no strangers to violence and that kind of. That's all he's saying. And fine, you want to run your country the way you run it, fine. But if you come here, you got to know what's going on. I want to read to you a quote from Masako Notoji. He's an associate professor of American Cultural Studies at the University of Tokyo. Here's what he said. This is interesting. Quote, I think for Japanese, the most remarkable thing is that you could get a jury of Americans together and they could conclude that shooting someone before you even talk to him was reasonable behavior. Well, he's got a point. Because a jury just decided that. Now, why do you think that is? Because the jury was a bunch of redneck bubbas? I know a lot of you people in the Northeast think that. And a lot of you people at Newsweek magazine think that. And a lot of you in California think that. But that's not the answer to the question. We're back to a jury trial again. You don't know how great... We may have had a great lawyer down there. We may have had a great lawyer against a not-so-hot lawyer who thought he had an open and shut case. So we may have had instructions that we haven't looked into this. But I suspect that what we have, if this is a pretty poignant way or powerful way for this associate professor of American Cultural Studies to put it, I think for Japanese the most remarkable thing is that you get a jury of Americans together and they could conclude that shooting someone before you even talk to him was reasonable behavior. I think that just underscores the fear that people in this country have. And I'll tell you, look, thanks very much for the call, Bill. I appreciate it. I think problem solving requires tough things, not just window dressing or symbolic approaches. Well, you got to get down to what causes things to happen. And the clear, and the only people who are going to disagree with me on this are liberals and the ACLU. The problem is we have just not kicked criminals' butts nearly hard enough for too long a period of time in this country. We need to kick serious criminal butt, and we haven't been. And that's why somebody could look at our country and just be appalled that reasonable people could think it reasonable to shoot somebody before you've even spoken to them. Reasonable people, if you give them that, if you grant that they are reasonable, then there has to be a reason why they would side with somebody who did it. So what do they have in common? What is the source of their reason? Fear of crime. Somebody comes knocking on your door, you don't know they're coming, and they say something to you that you don't believe, or I think the Japanese exchange student said he was lost. So I'm not trying to sweep this under a rug. It's a tremendous problem that we have, but this is, I think, human behavior is pretty natural, pretty normal thing. I think this is a natural reaction to the fear is a tremendous motivator. It's also it has tremendous power. The emotion of fear does. But he's right. I mean, it is a total tragedy. It's most unfortunate that this has happened. We've got to go. Quick break. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
You know, I can't program my own VCR. No, I'm not stupid. In fact, I'm the president of my own company. But 8 out of 10 of us can't program our own VCRs. I'm Michael Bissonette. I founded Voice Power Technology to solve problems just like this. We've developed a VCR remote control that's controlled by your voice. You just speak right into it and your VCR obeys. For instance, if you wanted to record a movie next Monday, you'd say, record Channel 7, Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and your VCR will automatically record Channel 7 that Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's honestly just that simple. Our voice remote works with virtually all brands of VCRs and requires no installation of any kind. Now, anyone that can speak can program their VCR. It's just that simple. Call us now for free information on this incredible breakthrough product. Call 1-800-795-9600. 1-800-795-9600.
Wednesday, May 26th is the last day of operations for Bobby Denny Furniture's Goldsboro store. And the last day you'll have the chance to take advantage of rock-bottom liquidation prices on famous name brand merchandise. Bobby Denny Furniture of Goldsboro has lost their lease and must sell their present inventory at whatever price it takes to move it. Save on ranges, $225, living room suits, $597, automatic washers, $238, console TV with remote, $387, solid wood bedroom suits, $496, dryers, $188, stereos, $88, 4-drawer chest, $29. Everything's got to go at whatever price it takes to move it. And if you don't like our prices, make an offer, because cash talks. All sales are final. Merchandise must be removed within 24 hours of purchase. Financing program available, 90 days, same as cash, and no money down. Don't forget, Wednesday, May 26th is the last day for Bobby Denny Furniture's complete liquidation sale of the Goldsboro store. Don't miss it. Take advantage of these savings now at Bobby Denny Furniture of Goldsboro.
Where can you get all the pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert that you care to eat for one low price? The Village Inn Pizza Parlor on Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro. The Village Inn announces its Monday and Tuesday night manager special. Monday and Tuesday nights only. The all-you-can-eat buffet. It's only $3.39. Every Monday and Tuesday night from 4:30 to 8 o'clock, the buffet is bargain priced at only $3.39. And it's only at one place. The Village Inn Pizza Parlor, 503 North Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro, where pizza is always in good taste.
New East Bank of Goldsboro would now like to do a little reminiscing. Remember when you pumped gas, not sports shoes? Remember when rapping was something you did on a door? Remember when a gang was a group of kids that played on the Little Rascals? And remember when you could only do your banking 9 to 5, Monday through Friday? Bank with New East Bank of Goldsboro and enjoy the luxury of being able to bank 6 days a week, as well as earlier in the morning and later in the evening on week.
This week at the Pork King, Nahana Pork Center, you'll find great savings on quality pork products like fully cooked smoked picnic, 69 cents a pound. Smoked slab side meat, 99 cents a pound, sliced free. Smoked boneless cooked hams, $1.59 a pound. And country cured ham hocks, buy one bag, get one free. And don't forget to order your barbecue pig for your Memorial Day gathering from the Pork King, Nahana Pork Center, Highway 581, 1 mile west of Nahana School.
Always on the right.
This is Rush Limbaugh on Goldsboro's very own WGBR.
That's right.
Well,
absolutely. That's the point that I'm trying to get across. I know I'm against him reducing the deficit, but I would be for reducing the national debt.
Well, you're splitting hairs. I don't know what you're saying. When you say you're against him reducing the deficit,
well,
what you're saying is, hey, reducing the deficit doesn't do anything but add less to the national debt, but
right.
It still adds to it.
Yes, absolutely.
And do you know? Do you really think paying off national debt's possible?
Well, you have to start somewhere. Even if we reduce it $1 a year, it's heading in the right direction.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, I think, though, that you can get to positive economic activity before that. Some might say that to run a surplus would be bad economically in the year that you do it, if it just happens overnight. But I don't think that focusing on the national debt... Look, in fact, I would wager with you, Robert, that most people think that he's going to reduce the national debt anyway. That's what he said he was going to do. I'm going to reduce the deficit. I'm going to reduce the size of government. I'm going to cause all these wonderful things to happen for you. And if you look, his plan, this is his numbers, folks. He'll blame these on somebody else someday soon, but right now they're his numbers. And the national debt will have $1.5 trillion added to it by virtue of his plan to the end of the decade. 1.5 trillion. It's going to get bigger. And I asked this question one day on this radio show. So how much is Clinton going to reduce national debt? Because everybody thinks that that's what his plan was all about. We did, in fact, an interesting man on the street on TV. We sent people around. What's the difference in national